Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1967A, and today's date is September 11th, 2019, and the title of the episode is One Simple Statement: The Patriots Just Countered the Recession Push. Brilliant. Now, before we get started, I wanted to talk about protecting yourself. Nothing invokes full-scale panic like Wall Street panicking, but quietly, secretly, U.S. corporate insiders, they're preparing. CNN reported $600 million of stocks has been sold each day in August. This only happened previously before the 2008 crash. Meanwhile, gold is rocketing, and demand is at a 3-year high, according to the World Gold Council. Precious metals, gold, silver, as an IRA or 401k rollover will keep you safe and help you ride out the latest storm. Call Noble Gold right now at 877-646-5347, or you can hit the link below and you'll get the free gold and silver investment guide that has been downloaded over 50,000 times. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, when you really look at the big picture and you start to see what the deep state, the central bank, has been doing, they've been hitting the Patriots at every turn, but it's not working. Now, the mainstream media, the deep state, they believe it's working, and they're projecting that everything that they're doing to stop Trump, the Patriots, the BREXIT, it is working. But it is not. Remember, they need to continually push the propaganda out there that everyone is on their side, and what is happening is actually working. And we can see out in the UK, everything that they're trying is going to fail. Actually, right now, Nigel Farage, he has offered this one-time deal between Boris Johnson and his party and Nigel Farage's party to team up to make the Brexit deal happen in October. And you can see that Nigel Farage, he has a very big following. And if they do team up, guess what? It will be that much harder to stop this. This freight train, it is breaking through, and they are going to have the Brexit. And nothing is going to stop this. Yes, the central bank, the EU, the deep state, they're all going to try to stop this. The establishment, they're going to try to stop this, but it will not work. In the end, they will have the Brexit. Think about it. The people are telling their government, this is what we want. We voted on it, and the majority won. And the government doesn't want to comply. And I'm not talking about Boris Johnson and his party. I'm talking about the establishment. Now, here in the United States, we know the deep state, the central bank, the mainstream media, they're all trying to get Trump out of office. And they're doing everything they possibly can. Think about it. Russian collusion, then racism, now recession. And they're pushing as much as they possibly can. And what Trump has been doing, he has been resetting the global trade deals. He's been turning everything back, bringing corporations back, bringing manufacturing back, and hitting China hard. Remember, they set China up, and this is the deep state, the central banks, to be the next powerhouse. When the system started to come down, and we entered a war to cover up the entire implosion of the central bank economy, China and other countries, they were going to have the manufacturing. The United States was going to be decimated. This was their plan, which means that the country was really going to have no economy. There would be no manufacturing. Everything would be out in China and other countries. Now, since Trump became president, he's been reversing all this, getting the corporations, the manufacturers out of China, putting a lot of pressure on China, and it is working. Trump says the supply chain of China is breaking up like a toy. Take a listen to what he said about China.
We're doing very well with China, and you probably saw the numbers that have come out, some of them coming out just today, but their supply chain is breaking up. The supply chain of China, which was this unbreakable, powerful tool that they had, is breaking up like a toy, because companies are moving out and China wants to make a deal. We'll see what happens. We have to make the right deal for this country. China's been taking out hundreds of billions of dollars a year out of our country. And, I read I read papers like the Wall Street Journal. They don't have a clue. They haven't got a clue. They don't make any excuses for the fact that China has been literally ripping off the United States in the worst manner for so many years. $500 billion pouring out of the United States. And I hear people, I don't even know, do these people have any education on anything? It's common sense, maybe more than anything else.
Now, Trump is just letting everyone know that the plan is working. And the main mission here is to bring back companies, manufacturers, and to go after the central bank, the Fed. And not just here in the United States, but the central banks around the world. Q has told us this. He gave us a list of all the different banks that were owned by the Rothschilds. And we can see that Trump has been contradicting, pointing the finger at the Fed over and over and over. And he's not going to stop. Actually, he tweeted out today about the Federal Reserve. And this is one day before the ECB is expected to cut rates further into negative territory and restart sovereign debt quantitative easing. Trump tweeted out the following: the Federal Reserve should get our interest rates down to zero or less, and we should then start to refinance our debt. Interest costs could be brought way down, while at the same time substantially lengthening the term. We have the great currency power and balance sheet. The USA should always be paying the lowest rate, no inflation. It is only the naivete of Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve that doesn't allow us to do what other countries are already doing. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that we are missing because of boneheads. Now, this is very interesting. Trump is out there, and he's pointing the finger at Jay Powell, the Federal Reserve, saying, listen, we need to do what other countries are doing, because if we don't, we're going to be on the losing end. And we've seen Jay Powell follow along with what Trump really wants. But at the end, he says this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that we're missing because of boneheads. Now, boneheads might be referring to Skull and Bones. Those individuals within that organizations, they're called bonesmen. And there's many people that are associated with Skull and Bones. Mnuchin, the Bushes, and many, many others. Now, is he saying, and maybe Powell, is he saying that these boneheads, they're the ones who caused all of this? It's starting to look like that. Now, Trump and the Patriots, they know the central bank economy is doomed. Trump, once again, is not trying to repair, save, or make the central bank economy whole again. He's using it to take the country to the transition. But he needs to get reelected, and the only way to do this is to pump the system with the Fed drug, which is made up of low or negative interest rates and stimulus. Now Fed Chair Powell just made the biggest announcement ever. And we heard this before. But this time, the deep state central bank are not pulling the strings. The Patriots are. So what did Powell just do? The Federal Reserve is telling us there won't be a recession, even though all the evidence suggests otherwise. It's happening again, just like last time when Ben Bernanke was out there and said, hey, listen, we're not forecasting any type of recession anytime soon, and in the same year, we had a recession. This time, Fed Chair Jerome Powell is saying, and he was speaking to the group at University of Zurich, saying that the Fed is not at all anticipating that there will be a recession. Now everyone's thinking, well, here we go again. The Fed is saying this. That means we're going into a recession. But think about what has been happening and think who's in control. Remember, you thought the same thing in Syria. You thought the same thing in Ukraine, in North Korea. Remember, things are different right now. What has the deep state and the mainstream media been doing? They've been placing articles out there saying that we're entering a recession. On all the mainstream media channels, they had people coming on saying that, yes, we're heading into a recession in 2020 or before 2020. And they pushed this quite a bit. What just happened now? The Federal Reserve said there's going to be no recession. What did the mainstream media do? The mainstream media went ahead and printed exactly what the Fed chairman said. USA Today, Powell, Fed is not at all expecting a recession, saying economy continues to perform well. CNBC, Powell says the Fed is not forecasting or expecting a recession. MSN, Fed Chief Jerome Powell says he does not expect a recession. This is a brilliant move. In this one statement by the chairman, it has completely countered the mainstream media and their call for this recession. Now everyone is looking at this saying, well, wait a minute. The Federal Reserve said there's going to be no recession. This is a brilliant move. This works in the favor of the Patriots. It's not Trump saying it. It's the Federal Reserve. And the Patriots have now positioned themselves, and the Fed is doomed. Why? If the economy goes into a recession, who is to blame? The Fed. They're the ones who said we weren't going to enter a recession. And we are. So Trump can turn around and say, wow, the Fed is to blame. They said everything was great. They're the ones who are taking care of the economy. They're the ones who said we're not going to enter a recession. He can blame it on them. If the economy doesn't go into a recession, Trump's policies are working. And the mainstream media is completely wrong. The central bank, the deep state, they lost the narrative. I believe that's what's just going to happen here. They completely lost the narrative. And once Trump wins the election, he can use what the Fed said about no recession against them. Because, once again, might not be before 2020, the recession. It might be after, when we're heading into a transition. And he can use that against the Fed. Perfectly planned. So what we're seeing here is that Trump and the Patriots, they have countered the entire mainstream media, the deep state, the Dems, saying there's going to be a recession by having the Fed, the chairman, come out and say there is no recession. Trump has protected his economic narrative. Boom. Who's in control? The Patriots. And guess what? The central bank, the deep state, the mainstream media, they're losing on all fronts. And Trump, the Patriots, once Trump wins the election, the next wave will begin. The dismantling of the Federal Reserve, bringing us into a brand new people-run economy. It's coming. And we're going to see huge changes ahead of us. Remember, watch gold. That's the indicator. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.